Every year, American citizens should have three classes. Three classes should be mandatory requirements for all American citizens: civics, American civics, how the civic process works, civic duty, economics, and politics, political science. I mean, I guess you could say the civics and the politics could maybe be one class, but in some cases even not. I'd say American civics. I mean, there's what it means to be a citizen and your rights as a citizen. Then there's how politics work, okay? And then there's the economics. I think all three of those should be requirements, should be required learning for American citizens. One, for us to safeguard ourselves from ourselves or safeguard ourselves from enemies that are domestic, let alone foreign. But that's not the case, and that's not by accident. And if you think that the educational system in this country is constructed the way it's constructed by accident, all you have to do is look at the common consensus in your American political campaigns that says you can't speak to American citizens above a fifth grade reading level. When you write, when you write, what do they call it? When you write your materials, your information that you send out for your campaign, whether it be email or whether it be the stuff that you take door to door, when you write that material, you're not supposed to write above a fifth grade reading level. Well, how did that happen? How are we required by law to finish 12 grades of schooling to get a high school diploma in America, but most Americans can't read beyond the fifth grade? I mean, what? And that's a huge gap now. And understand, I'm not making this up. This isn't made up. I'm not just saying the fifth grade arbitrarily. That is the number. I mean, where do you think "Are you smarter than a fifth grader" comes from? I mean, it's basically them mocking you. It's the mainstream media industrial complex mocking you because their overlords, the mainstream media industrial complex, are the same people who set the educational curriculum through the politicians they put in front of you to elect. So they know what the average reading level is of your American citizens. They set the game that way intentionally because it's easy to subjugate and conquer people who are dumb or people who don't know what they don't know. Let's not say you're dumb because some of these some people have very good common sense, very good spiritual insight, very are just naturally intelligent. But there are certain types of information, there are certain types of science, and economics is a form of science. Money uh, is a form of is a type of science. There are certain sciences, certain things that certain individuals have expertise in that we wouldn't know unless we know. We wouldn't know unless we had some specific familiarity with that domain of society. Now, many of us, because God gave us that sort of spiritual divine intuition towards what's true and what's not true, many of us intuit that something is dishonest about the way the money is being handled. But mostly it's because we just can feel we're getting screwed. I mean, you go and work and you come home and you check and you look at the taxes and you think to myself, okay, got to take taxes out because I live in the country. But then I go to drive to the grocery store and the road in front of my apartment building, which you probably live in an apartment building or duplex or condo or whatever it is, maybe your house, but the road in front of it is full of potholes here in Minnesota from the winter from a winter ago, 2 winters ago now, right? So I mean, there's a part of the human spirit that just can sense something is off, but that doesn't mean we know where to begin. And many of us think about economics in a personal and individual sense. We think about, how much money we pay for things, how much money, and we don't think about it in terms of the government spending money on our behalf. And that's where we have to come to. And then slowly but surely it's happening. And I'll tell you what, they bit off way more than they could chew from a PR standpoint with this Ukraine war. Black people are very offended by and should be very offended by the amount of money we've sent to the Ukraine for this forever war, this forever conflict we want with Russia. They bit off way more than they can chew with that PR, with that propaganda, because we don't care what your justification is. Victoria Newland and Keegan, we don't care what your Atlanticist, Realpolitik, Henry Kissinger school of neocon, neoliberal world order. We don't care what your justification is. So, see, and that's part of the problem. In one sense, you want black people to vote Democrat blind by default. But in one sense, you want to undereducate the average American citizen so they won't know the difference between voting for a neoliberal, a neocon, and a globalist, which is not different at all. They're all three the same people. You want to keep the people undereducated, but then you want them to understand your esoteric, your esoteric justifications for war. See, and that's where these people are going to fall all over themselves. And even more importantly, that's where these people are going to grow frustrated with you, the little guy, the American citizen, the everyday average working class American citizen. They're going to grow frustrated with you, and their impetus is going to be to enslave you, to imprison you, or to kill you. And you have to understand that is the modus operandi of the highest level global elite that we can hear talking today out there on the stage or up at the podium. Their frustration with you, their sense of anti-human depopulation, it stems from them undereducating you for their own benefit and convenience, and then being mad at you because you don't understand their esotericism. And the NBA said I was too smart for my own good. They may have been right. In the long run, we'll see. I think God's smarter than they are. But hey, I'm just a crazy black guy from Minnesota running MAGA for United States Senate. They say I need $50 million. I say, give me a fucking break. If we need $50 million to win these elections, that means we've done a poor job of telling the people what they need to know. And that's all I'm here to do. Let the people choose. Let's have a vote. Let's have an election. And if we lose, we need to do a better job of getting the message out, because one thing is for sure, the message isn't the problem. The message is ironclad. Now, there are a few people in there like Fuentes and some other, fringy guys who want to try and, dirty the message up or muddy the message up with a bunch of bullshit. But people aren't dumb. People get it. Black people get it. Black people understand. Look, you can tell me white supremacy is the boogeyman at the door, and I got to vote Democrat. I got to vote for you, white liberals, because those white Republicans are they're the KKK. They really don't like black people. And I start to think to myself, who doesn't like black people more? The people who are trying to take my right to own a gun, or the people who are trying to give me the right to own a gun? Who doesn't like me more? The people who are trying to put less government in my private life or more government in my private life?